Thanks, Sarah. Just the third weekend of this new Aviva Premiership season, but for any Gloucester folk looking at the table this morning, the unpalatable reality that come tea time they could be a dozen points or more behind one of their major rivals for the top four come season's close. One last check on the teams. Nothing better than a good old head-to-head to look forward to, and Nigel Davis's policy of giving all three of his scrum halves a go right at the start of the season means Jimmy Cowan's first start sets up a delicious contest between the All Black and Khan Photo Elite. A change in the second row, a first Premiership start for young Elliot Stooke, very much part of the cherry and white future. He's alongside skipper Tom Savage, and while Nick Wood starts his 8-week suspension, Dan Murphy holds the fort at Loosehead. It's not often a coach has the luxury of picking from a fully fit squad, but Jim Mallander's not far off here. He's chosen to give one of last season's star men, winger Jamie Elliott, a first start this season. Luther Burrell, last Friday's man of the match at the Stoop. It's part of a backline full of the sharpest of knives. Up front, number 8, Sam Dickinson, has made an outstanding impression early on. Samu Manoa starts in the second row, and while Alex Corbisiero gets the day off, Alex Waller is on from the off. A big day for the family. Brother Ethan is poised for his Premiership debut as a replacement. What are you looking at, Ben?
Well, on the form, everyone's talking about the front five and how strong Northampton's front five is, how weak in comparison Gloucester is, and if Gloucester are going to win it today, I really feel that the two second rows have to overperform, particularly against Day and Manoa. Manoa's stepping up from number 8, but you know what he brings, he's physical. Day has been absolutely imperious in the air and absolutely awesome around the field, so Savage and particularly Stooke on his debut have really got to have big games.
And if those guys can provide decent ball, well, there's some fascinating matchups. 12 Trees versus Burrell, inside centre berth with Brad Barrett gone now for England. But for me, the battle at 9, Cowan versus Khan Photo Elite. What an amazing contest that is going to be. Pace against power. Khan is so quick around the breakdown, but if Cowan gets hold of him, he's one of the most physical scrum halves in the game.
Yes, we spend a lot of time over the summer, Austin, talking about the big name arrivals at Saints like Corbisiero and like George North. We rather overlook Khan Photo Elite, and he's made a big impression very early on.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't really his conditions at Harlequins a week ago, but on a dry pitch today, playing in perfect conditions against a side that hasn't been defending well around the breakdown, he will cause a lot of damage and a lot of threat.
Final gathering of the thoughts from the home clan. Billy 12 Trees delivering a few home truths. Came out a little bit too fired up, you suspected, last Sunday at Saracens, and we know what that meant for Nick Wood. Discipline will be utterly key today. Point that Nigel Davis has emphasised. What's interesting looking in that Saints dressing room to see the new coach as well, Alex King, going around making his presence felt. He's set to be a big influence this season. Dylan Hartley. 11-week ban over the summer. First player red carded in a Premiership final. All that has been put away in the frustration bank. Left for another day, but he'll use that to fire him on today and to fire him on this season. It's a big choice, big decision by Jim Mallander to retain that man as the skipper this season.
I think on the externally it probably appears that way, but I think if you speak to anyone at Northampton about what Dylan Hartley brings to the team in terms of his talismanic nature, really, he always gets the best out of the players around him. Yes, occasionally he steps over the line, but I think Jim Mallander's thought that's a risk worth taking.
And for the first time this season, Tom Savage in full control of Gloucester. Toughest of starts to his 24-year-old reign. Let's hear the King's home roar. Just the lift that must give you, the spring in the studs that you suddenly discover.
Well, particularly if you're making your debut, and Elliot Stooke, what an atmosphere to run out for. He's a big athletic second row.
Yeah, he's got a real reputation, Ben. They really like him here.
It can, if you're a good player, playing your first game, particularly at home, can give you such a lift. He'll be so excited to play this. He's got to be careful, he keeps a lid on it. Not in terms of the physical nature, but those little mistakes, drop balls. But if he can, and he can build, the shed will get behind him, and he'll feel that he's got a real future here.
Don't often give the refereeing team news, but we've had a late change. Greg Garner pulled a hamstring in training, so Martin Fox is brought in. Paul Burton and Ashley Rowden with the flags. Graham Hughes with his pipe and zapper in our truck. One of the big games of the season at Kingsholm, Northampton against Gloucester. Two sides who we fully expect to be thrashing away near the top four come the end of the season. Northampton the perfect start, Gloucester far from it. What's to give here over 80 minutes in the West Country sunshine. First long clearing kick down Austin's Hill from Freddie Burns. Gloucester playing with the slope in the first half. This is Khan Fotuali. Sloan enjoyed his first start of the season at the Stoop after arriving at the Ospreys, battling for Lee Dixon with the shirt this season. Stephen Myler pretty much has the 10 shirt to himself for the time being. And it's come back on the cherry and white side. Callum Afoni giving it some air. Myler picked up by young Jamie Elliott, who made such an impression last season. This is his first start this time round ahead of Ken Pesey. A bit loose in midfield for Burrell, not where he was expecting to be. Taken on by Manoa, and then the ball was lost forward as Callum Clark involved himself. Scrum's coming. Jimmy Cowan taking his time to make sure that's exactly what they get.
I was just looking at that last passage of play. Henry Trinder's work rate was phenomenal. I thought he'd done the wrong thing. He flies out of the line after the mistake, and look, Northampton have a big overlap, but he puts the brakes on. Look at his work rate to get out and make that tackle. Ends up with it being numbers matched in defence. Gloucester turned the ball over. Bright start.
His try and overall performance here on that opening weekend defeat against one of the few bright spots. He was outstanding that day, and he started well this afternoon. First scrum, Ben.
Both these teams are number 2 in the percentage of scrums collapse, so we're expecting a few, but you can see already Northampton, big surge. They get penalised. Goes against Mercy for coming across, but that's an area that Northampton will want to put down an early marker, and perhaps they won't be too upset about giving away the penalty.
Opportunity for Mercy to claim the number 1 spot this season. Majati in Paris. Selesimar Afu is here. He was warming up before the match, the Australian tight head, but he's still really bedding in, so chances for Mercy early on.
It's interesting that a lot of Gloucester's problems have been collapsing and going low, and I saw in the warm-up the front row getting really low. Northampton want to scrummage a little bit higher, and we saw that then. The 2 sets of front rows went up. That was never straight. We'll get another chance to examine this scrum.
Scrum online. Scrum.
Seemed to be caught in 2 minds. That didn't appear to be the initial plan.
It's a poor error because there was no defence to avoid at the front. David up.
26 today. Julia Edmonds, by the way, the Australian, making his way back from a knee injury. He'll become an option for Nigel Davies in the near future.
Bind. Set. Yeah, and mine as well, and mine. Let's go closer.
Gloucester front row without Nick Wood, with Murphy at loose heads, David up in the middle, and Rupert Harden on the other side. That's Murphy. Nick Wood banned for 2 months.
The referee's just asked them to go closer, which will mean it'll be difficult for Gloucester to get as low as they want. See, already they're underneath Northampton. That's where they want to be. Northampton are happy being higher. The referee might have heard there calling hinging. A few people have been asking on social media what hinging is. It's literally just hinging at the hips. So you haven't got, because of your body shape, you haven't got the strength to keep your head up. And you literally just collapse in.
Jordan Crane and Graham Kitchener with the early tries at Welford Road. 3 o'clock kick-off there.
He was penalised a lot last week, Murphy, wasn't he, when he came on for Wood, for hinging, for exactly that.
What about the Saints line out? to the front, and Christian Day looking forward to a season without injury. Burrell on the bounce. He's had a storming start to the season, as has Wilson. Get the ball away quickly here, and there are real opportunities. Gloucester have done well to slow it down, though. They've got the defence back. Plugged the hole impressively. Hole initially blasted open by Burrell, who was on the ball again just then, and Murphy clearly offside. Through the hands of North rather quickly. This is Foden. Foden's going in. First time in the match that they've run the ball through the hands with any real menace, and they puncture the cherry and white defence.
Good start for the Saints. All came from Burrell's little bit of fortune in that the ball didn't go to hand, but that's often the case. Confuses the defender. He makes it through the half tackle. If that ball had gone back out to Foto Alihi earlier, perhaps he would have been under. Gloucester do well initially, but look at all the defensive numbers on the left-hand side. They needed to be working round to this side where the ball came. Again, a little bit of fortune as it bobbles through. Myler taps it on, and at that stage they had an overlap, and Foden just picked his hole.
Myler knew what he was trying to do there.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was wonderfully inventive, a little bit like Mike Brown's effort that we saw yesterday evening, but 6 ways to release Rob Buchanan in the corner. Myler's sleight of hand providing all the time that Foden needed. Stephen Myler, test debut for England in Argentina over the summer, off the back of increased confidence last season, and he's carried that confidence into the start of this one.
The Saints get a break because of the pass going down, and the defender steps in for the player he thinks initially he's going to get it, but really good line from Burrell and the pickup. But it was at that stage that Gloucester just hadn't worked round the corner to this side hard enough. Pretty poor attempt back on the inside with the tackle.
The restart's been lost forward by Samu Manoa. It's been 7 months since the Californian started in the second row. Courtney Law's not fit today.
They should be under a little bit more pressure than they were last week with the kickoffs. It's something that Gloucester do really well. They get everyone chasing hard. Northampton were a bit guilty last week of giving Harlequins a bit of an easy ride there with the kickoff.
Alex King to Jim Mallander's right. It's going to be fascinating to see what influence he has. We had a little bit of a chat with Jim about it before the match. His influence in developing an all-round Northampton game this season. This is back to doing what they've done so well so far this season. They've been nigh and impeccable at the set piece.
There's no hit, is there? There's no hit. There's no hit. You hold.
They're coming this time, boys. Coming this time. Seconds. Chase your feet on the hip.
Balance on the set. Balance on the set. Crouch.
Encouragement from Hartley.
Bind. Set.
I'm not sure which side the referee gave it, whether he gave it against Harden, but I believe that Murphy was boring in early as well and went head straight to ground.
Drop your feet and down.
Myler into touch. Austin's been looking at the try.
Well, just looking back at the try, actually, Gloucester do really well to get around the corner. Look, they've got enough defenders. They're numbered up there. There's 3 of them, all in a tight position, looking very strong. But what happens is Simpson Daniel thinks he sees something, steps out the line. As he steps out the line, it's that bit of fortune you mentioned, Ben. Nice piece of skill, actually, from Myler that flicks it on that creates the try. Stays out, there's no space.
Was really impressive for Northampton last week was this driving line out, getting good control on the game. Dorian West works really hard on it with his pack. Very patient, just to spew the defenders out and wheel around the corner, but keep going straight. A lot of teams go too far around the corner.
Onside, Reds.
Picked up by Hartley. There was offside, a little bit of accidental obstruction.
Good decision, a chance for Gloucester just to get their breath back, get some field position, and then mount an attack from the line-out. But exceptionally important line-out that they recover it cleanly. Go through 100% drill.
Difficult, is it, in a melee like that, to know exactly where everybody else is, to cut out those kinds of penalties?
It is difficult. I think, in part, it's the guy at the back, it's the Dylan Hartley that needs to be aware of who's in front of him, make sure he gives him, if he makes the decision to come out, you almost have to make sure you go even further than you think you need to go.
Number 5.
Once the brake's on, just to get out of that traffic.
Taken by Calamafoni to Cowan. Burns. He had Trinder offering himself. Instead, it was Simpson-Daniel flying through the air. Cowan, 12 trees. Quick release on the Saints, 22. Cowan again. First Premiership start for 8 months for him after injury midway through his first season. He almost feel like a new player for club and personally. This is Burns.
Gloucester have an overlap this side.
12 trees, sensed that, but he tried to bypass it all by floating the ball wide to Savage, and he's quick to apologise.
Outside, no quick one.
Yeah, Jamie Elliott just stepped up on the outside to make that pass more difficult for 12 trees. Took the gamble, it paid off.
Number 3.
Good initial break from Gloucester though.
This is the 25th line-out Northampton have had
It's outside.
so far this season. They've not lost one. Stand by for you know what, having given it the commentator's curse.
And a penalty.
Can only apologise to all Northampton fans watching. That wasn't the intention, I promise.
And to answer your last question, that was Mercy's fault for picking the ball up rather than anyone else's. Should have realised he was in front. Poor error, but Gloucester go for the corner. They really want to turn the screw. And you can hear the lift it's had on the shed.
You just need to react a bit quicker.
One of the toughest teams to drive against.
React a bit quicker.
I feel it that this would give them. They have to be secure.
So a look at Northampton's line-out defence here. All the work that they would have done with Dorian West during the week. Not needed up front, but they've got some defensive work to do in midfield now as Simpson-Daniel went looking.
Got a free shot because he's playing advantage for the knock-on at the front of the line out by Northampton.
Advantage over.
Taken on by Kvesic. The advantage is gone, we heard Martin Fox tell us and them. The King's home roar. The shed in full voice. Trinder almost in full flight. It's being slowed down. There's a penalty coming. Cowan goes on a little burst of his own. Still playing the advantage. 12 trees to Savage. Still has it, the skipper.
Didn't Savage do well to maintain his ground, get the drive back going forward?
Burns. Half through the hit from Callum Clark.
He's held there. We're back to the pen. On the 5.
Back for the penalty.
I think against Foto Alihi for coming over the top. Good play from the Gloucester forwards in particular. That pick and go round the corner, just disturbing the Northampton back line or defensive line. And they get the easier shot at 3 points.
Your feet went back. Okay, that's
Great step by Trinder, gets inside.
Change your feet.
Not sure there that Wood came in legally, definitely came in from the side. Ball was slowed.
The motivation for Gloucester couldn't be starker today to win and avoid their worst ever start to a Premiership season. It's already been the shakiest for 13 years. Wasn't his best kick, but Burns puts in some early foundations and narrows the gap to 4. Gloucester's players all lined up to apologise to the fans after that rather pallid opening day defeat to Sale here. No punch, no accuracy, not much idea. Their words, not ours. That was a bit more like it in the phase of play that ultimately led to the penalty. It's not that by Wood. It remains Gloucester possession. Cowan and Guerra. Trinder. A burst from the new boy, Elliot Stoop. First Premiership start after his debut as a teenager a fortnight ago. Since that debut, he's turned 20. And a fully fledged Aviva Premiership player.
The force of the tackle from North there on Trinder. Literally picked him up and threw him backwards.
Israel Folau knows all about the power of George North in a tackle. Used him as a rucksack. Taken on by Christian Day. Penalty conceded by Day.
It's a big 5 minutes for Northampton now, because you can just feel that air of confidence and lift that the Shed are getting from the way the Gloucester players are playing. A lot more intent, as Austin said. Big hit from North coming in, but they recovered well. Cowan's been good, bossing his forwards in front of him, making sure they're in the right position.
Austin.
Jimmy.
Well, just showing what Ben was talking about. Tom Wood is highlighted there. This is where the previous penalty came from. He just comes straight in from the side, and then he doesn't try and swing his legs around. He just stays in there. It's a clear penalty, well spotted, and it shows you the contrast at the breakdown. Conversely, look at, there he is. He's just holding on to the legs. No choice but a penalty. But conversely, Gloucester at that breakdown came legally straight through the middle at the back, through the gate, and got their hands on the ball. It's going to be so vital, as it is in every game, how this breakdown's reffed for the rest of the afternoon.
There was some debate between Freddie Burns and Billy Twelvetrees as to who was to take this kick. Burns thinks it's within his range. Twelvetrees now might be saying it should have been me. It remains a 4-point gap.
Let's have the ball.
Taken on halfway by Callum Ofoni. Tongan, who continues to be preferred at number 8 to Ben Morgan at the moment. Continuing to start matches on the bench. This is Trinder. How lively has he been early on?
All season, really. He was brilliant in the Sale game going forward. A couple of issues for the tries in defence. He just made the wrong decision, but he looks
Get out of it.
quality player.
Some early issues for Northampton at the breakdown. Another concession of a penalty. Once again, it's Tom Wood. They're up to 5 now on the penalty count.
The referee might have a quiet word with Dylan Hartley and say, look, there's a lot of penalties at the breakdown. He just has done exactly that.
Talking about the work that Gloucester are doing at the breakdown, down largely to that man, Andrew Stanley, who's been promoted from the academy over the summer to look after the forwards. You'll know that Carl Hogg left to join Worcester. The man they call Stan is now the man.
Savage did well there because they'd misread the call, and he had to go up one-on-one with Christian Day, who knew where the ball was going. They've set good position, and Gira at the back. Just Murphy needs to drop his height a little bit and they can go through that area. Need to keep it moving. The referee will ask them to play it.
Don't pull his head! Don't pull it!
Rupert Harden offering us a little bit more than we need to see on a Saturday afternoon.
Backwards!
And he'll get that sorted out. Cowan, Burns, chip through, it's got to be a try, and it will be scored by Trinder.
No, he's knocked it on, hasn't he?
Knocked on.
Oh, no. Oh.
No, Hooker is down behind.
Well, if ever
No option there.
rugby had its own version of an own goal, that was it.
Well, they set the move up brilliantly well. Trinder would have pre-called it. And there's acres of space in behind. No sweeper. Just drops it down. You can see 2 runners coming through. Trinder gets there first and it just bobbles
It's taking
as he's diving.
an event for you to actually get it in. So just a little bit
I think one of the concerning things for Northampton will be Kanfo to Alihi. A couple of his passes have gone awry. He hasn't shown control around the breakdown, occasionally taken on a few of the wrong decisions. There, he blitzed out the line, almost managed to get back, but his role is covering that kick. And for all his brilliant skills in attack around the fringes, yet to be seen, there has to be a balance between the two, because he is a hugely talented individual.
I was wondering with Jim Mallender this week who his first choice 9 is now, and he says, I don't have one. We will have a genuine rotation policy, a little bit like Saracens. They'll get blocks of matches, so as much as it's Photo Ali at the moment, Dixon will get his go.
Well, these two 9s played today must have played against each other a few times. Cowan for the Highlanders, Photo Ali, the Crusaders.
I'm still trying to digest the miss from Trinder. All he had to do was catch it and he'd have slid over the line.
Never mind the miss. Never mind the miss, but digesting. Nick's good at digesting. Look at him. But I think you look at Murphy, he has to go to the sin bin. It's the 3rd penalty now in the scrum, and he's doing exactly the same thing each time. Well, you know, we can't have every scrum that just collapses and collapses and collapses.
Latest Tigers try scored by Blaine Scully. Those of you who were with us for the 7s will know all about the American.
Line.
Nick Rouse for the Exiles. His try has them ahead of the Chiefs, who've responded with 3 Gareth Steenson penalties.
Saints cut this to a 5-man line out.
There's one by the Blackpool Tower, Christian Day. Oh, that was some hit from Dickinson. Oh, it's prompted Martin Fox to blow the whistle. It looks certainly well timed. Was he using much in the arm region? That might be the issue.
He mistimed it. He hit Simpson Daniel while he was still in the air.
It's a yellow.
It's a shame because Northampton had set that up really well. 5-man line out, which meant that he could be out in the back line. Dickinson chased well, got off to a good start. Look, off the top, so a catch and give ball, good box. He's in perfect position there, just needs to time it, accelerate. And I think it looks like he's not, but his left hand goes between the legs there. So the penalty is for tackling the man in the air. It's a good call, it probably is a yellow card, but did he do it maliciously? No, I think he's just mistimed it.
With another 6 inches, those studs would have been on. Look how close. Simpson Daniel brushes the turf with his studs.
Had Simpson Daniel's leg not been up in the air, he might have got away with it, mightn't he?
Yeah, possibly. And Dylan Hartley, all credit to him, went over to the referee, and as he was as he was showing the yellow card, he said, are you going to at least have a look at it? Because it was really, really close. And sometimes the crowd pushes the ref into making a decision. He's made the right one on this occasion. Simpson Daniel goes off for what looks like a few stitches. But it's so close, Nick. That is a millisecond. That's like 0.25 of a second difference.
I totally agree. But the IRB have made a big play to try and get rid of dangerous tackling from the game. I feel for him because he is unlucky, but I think it's probably the right decision.
Second season at the club for him. It'll feel like his first, though. Arm injury that he brought with him from Rotherham really restricted his opportunity to impact last year. Big impact just then. Johnny May has come on temporarily to look after James Simpson Daniel's place. Oz.
Well, this is where the threat really comes from Gloucester. Earlier on, they go wide, they get the ball in Simpson Daniel's hand, and he tries to track the channel between North and Wilson. He gets through the gap, and his acceleration is because of his pace, actually, and the width on the ball. But it's that great defence from Wilson. I think that's where Gloucester really should look to keep attacking. They've got some real pace with guys out wide, especially with May on the field now.
They use Stuke at the tail of the line-out to release 12 trees, the battering ram in midfield. Second season at Kingsholm. Now a Lion after a busy summer. Picked up by Dan Murphy. First Premiership start this season for him from a London Irishman. 12 trees again. Held up by Photo Ali'i. Dylan Hartley came through with the boot that was legal. The fullback, Rob Cook, have a willing carrier of the ball out of defence and chased his own kick, only found North.
A tackle from Savage as North tried to spin out of the tackle.
Burrell. This is Wilson. Once again, he's got Foden to his left. Just in touch.
You could see what Foden was trying to do. He's trying to use the outside of his right boot to nudge it through for Luther Burrell, who, if it had come off, I think might have got there first. Burrell gives him the ball. It's Wilson who gives him the ball, and he does step out, but look, he's just trying to nudge it over for Burrell, who continued on that same line. And with the Gloucester defenders drifting across, Burrell was in space on his own.
Well, the look on the face of the touch judge, Ashley Rowden, he's like a traffic warden. Seen the car parked 10 minutes longer than it ought to have been there. Flag straight in the air, well done, Ash. Flipped back by Callum Ofoni, taken on the bounce by Matt Kvesic. Grew up as a lad in the shed, remembers squeezing his way to the front, having come in with his dad. Now playing for the shed. What a feeling that must be. Shed encouraging George North. Foden stays on his feet well to give the ball back to the Welshman.
He was actually born in Kings Lynn. Makes him English. Any chance we can have him back?
Let's have that conversation on Twitter.
That's not.
Okay. Freddie Birds. Oh, and then it was James Wilson coming in with the hit.
Great game, Wilson.
Burns, who was looking for May, having recovered from the elbow that he dislocated in a pre-season friendly down against Toulon. And temporarily for James Simpson-Daniel, if you're just joining us here on BT Sport.
2 and 2. 2 and 2.
Gloucester's line-out's winning them a fair amount of decent ball. But what they won't be overly happy with is James Simpson-Daniel comes back from the treatment room. They'll be trying to get him on as quickly as possible.
Oh, he's coming back.
Good hit from Wilson there. But off the back of the line-out, Gloucester just need to tie in a few of the Northampton defenders. Because at the moment, the ball's thrown to the back and the three-tailed gunners are just going straight at Freddie Burns.
Simpson-Daniel has been sellotape back together. That will see more of Johnny May in the second half. Dabajuk, and that one was stolen initially by Day. He thinks he was taken out. He's going to get no change from the touch judge on this near side, Paul Burton. Instead, it's Cherry and White ball. And this is Simpson-Daniel immediately involved again. Cook, Sharples will chase it. It's very well taken by Jamie Elliott.
Sharp from Elliott. Good movement again, using James Simpson-Daniel on that outside arc and his pace.
Brilliant play from Elliott. If you watch him here, he's in the bottom of the screen. Watch, he tracks the ball all the way across, using the pendulum that the back three do to cover the space. It's a good kick, actually, but he's read it and he's in a perfect position. Very, very impressive defensive play.
First start of the season for him ahead of Ken Pesey. 9 tries in his last 9 starts, but he's also very handy doing that kind of work as well, Oz.
Yeah, what you have to do to always be in the team. Score 2 a week.
Akapusi Ngira has come out into the midfield here. He's joined Kvesic. And the tunnel ball between them. Well read by Burrell.
Tweltree's having to shuffle back, and this is Wilson looking for support. Finds Elliott. Myler. In the end, the green and black and gold shirts just ran out, but still in a very handy position. Fotuali, he snaps it back to Elliott, who goes off in search of a 10th try and a 10th start. Manoa. It's been a while since Northampton have threatened Gloucester's line in the way that they're doing at the moment. Alex Waller took it on. Manoa braces himself. Now it'll be Hartley, scoops it up, looks for the offload to Clark, which he does, and Clark now spins away. Hartley again. Last time they were this close, they scored a try.
Such good balance this game. We've seen the backs and forwards working independently, trying to tie in the defenders.
Fotuali'i just tripped up as he tried to take the direct route.
Didn't he do well to get back to his feet and save the penalty?
Manoa trying to go over the north face of the Eiger. Hauled back to the floor. This is good old-fashioned blood and thunder from Northampton's forwards.
Northampton have got no one on the left-hand side. It's got to come this side.
Clark again, double figures, phase-wise. Photo Elite, will they use the side which is less populated with Foden? North was there, and how insistent was Gloucester's defence.
Trinder makes the tackle, comes up with the ball.
Harden, Cook, hit by Wilson. Stoke was taken off the ball as well. Samu Manoa, I think, had a hand in that. And we're going to have a look. Graham Hughes called into action for the first time.
It could look like a yellow card, this. Samu Manoa steps in from the outside.
He just guesses, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Guesses that the ball's going to come to him.
Gloucester for foul play, please.
Okay.
I think looking at it, if he hasn't used his arms, then it's a yellow card. If he has used his arms, he's just misread the play and it's just a penalty.
This is what Graham Hughes is seeing in our truck. Here he comes. Here's Manoa for. He definitely uses his arms. And
that's just a penalty.
Yeah, just a penalty.
Okay, Fox here.
Good decision by the officials. Good work.
What a turnover in the lead up to that by Henry Trinder. And it looked like Foden had a sniff of the line. He stubbed it out and then came up with the goods.
Well, it was a missed opportunity, but it was well worked. Wilson breaks through. If he pops this ball now to Elliott, he walks straight in over the line. Elliott's in acres of space. Simpson-Daniel has had to turn at a slower pace. Elliott scores, but they go through the play. Even then, they were so strong around the breakdown until that great turnover from Trinder.
Stay there! Stay there!
Cherry and white forwards arrived slowly, purposefully at the line out. That was beautifully taken by Stoop, high above his head. 12 Trees has done a fair amount of this business.
Well, the line out ball just meant that Callum Clark had to stay a bit longer, which means that 12 Trees was already over the line.
Callum Afoni, and 6 inches in front of James Simpson-Daniel, and you'd have been putting him on a try.
That is Gloucester at their best, apart from the last pass. Trying to get their centres over the line in midfield. They do that. Look at the Northampton players trying to recover around the corner. 2-step in on the same man.
No, let's go. Let's go.
Photo Ali, he does well to get across in the cover role, but the pass should have been better.
I think it just tells the story of Gloucester, Nick. They do some things really, really well, a bit of flash really, really well, and then when it comes to the basics, 2-on-1 or line-out ball or scrum, they fall down. That's been their story for the last 12, 18 months, really.
Well, interesting, with that previous line-out that Northampton threw in that we assumed had been lost, the statsmen have actually given it to them. So it remains a 100% line-out so far this season. Here is Simpson-Daniel. Again, Manoa coming in forcefully on halfway. Burns. Doesn't find touch. Elliott from an acute angle and off his right boot. Opts instead just to try and thread the 5-metre challenge. In the end, bounces 15 metres infield and allows Burns to try and manage the game again. That might be very cute. Oh, how about this? Now, he's a long way from getting to the ball first here, but if he could have done, that would have been the most audacious try you'll ever see, but not quite, Freddie, but nice idea.
Not been short of action, have we? Both teams keeping the ball on the field with their kicking game, and the opposition wanting to counter-attack.
What Stuart Lancaster might be looking at here in a game like this of such high quality, Freddie Burns' ability to manage it, to take it by the scruff of the neck, to be the key man.
That's exactly it. There is no doubt at all that this guy has got every skill in his locker that should make him a fantastic player. What Stuart Lancaster will want is to be able to temper that natural ambition and flair occasionally, just to play the right game, make sure that his own players can read what he's doing.
Sam Dickinson about to reintroduce his bulk to the passion play.
What, Nick?
Passion play.
The passion play.
Passion play. Little cultural reference, Austin. listen, Edward Scissorhands, you concentrate on setting up your salon and we'll concentrate on the match.
Ben did a very good job, didn't he, on Wednesday with that boy's hair. I always knew you had a hairdresser inside you, Ben.
Attacking lineup, one at the front by Savage.
Good response by Northampton, but what Gloucester have to do is what Northampton are really good at, and they've settled themselves. Now they need to find that little weakness and drive straight through it and twist those Northampton bodies out of the way and find where it's nice and easy. It's the people at the front that are working the hardest to do that. Savage just needs to drop his height a little bit. See, Manoa's come right through the middle, he's onto the ball. They're going to have to recycle this, Gloucester now.
Might even lose the ball. They have lost the ball. Such was the work, such was the smothering work of Samu Manoa.
Simon Shaw was always so good at.
Let's have a look at the match through the eyes of Nigel Davies. Nigel, what are you seeing?
Well, we've created enough chances to be well in the lead. Just a little bit disappointed with our finishing. You know, we are creating, we're keeping good width in attack. Unfortunately, our set piece is not giving us what we want at the moment, and you know, they're pretty dominant in that area. But if we keep on going, the tries will come for us. But you know, it's disappointing that we haven't had a couple more.
Thank you, Nigel.
Okay, let's have this up here.
The set piece isn't great, but some of the line-out driving's been pretty good, and that last one was good right up until they let Manoa through. He just swam through the middle of it, using those arms, latch on to the ball carrier at the back. This is a big scrum for them, though. They need to keep the field position.
Thank you, Ash.
Ball wasn't straight. Feeding. Khan Potuali'i concedes the free kick.
They want to go quick, and they're slowed down. That is prime Gloucester attacking position. A free kick there with their speed of their outside backs.
Callum Afoni doing the hard work. Cowan. Taken on by Ngera. Burns, what's on his mind? 12 Trees was closest to him. Here goes Trinder again. Oh, that is magnificent work at the breakdown.
For me, and I'm sure the Northampton fans will disagree with me, that's gone the wrong way, because the initial clear out that came in was blocked by Luther Burrell, who was still on the floor. I'm sure it'll be one of those where the Gloucester fans think they've been harshly done by, the Northampton fans think it was spot on, but Burrell got it spot on because he rolled away. He stayed there just as long as he could, and then he moves. And it just tripped Billy Twelvetrees up, who was the man coming in to support. That was bright play by Burrell.
Half-time in the 3 o'clock kickoffs, by the way. Leicester lead 17-6. London Irish lead 10-9. Hearing, by the way, that Dean Richards got a fabulous welcome back from the Crumbie stand at Welford Road, as you'd expect. They know he's one of them, really. Line out on halfway for the previously and currently unbreachable Saints throw in. It remains so. Here's Dickinson. He's had a 10-minute breather. 28-year-old who's enjoyed a great start to the season. Man of the match against Exeter. Potuali'i, Myler, Burrell, Wilson. Under him, aquaplaning in for the winning try at the Stoop on a wet Friday night a week ago. And that's good game management from Myler.
It is a smart play. He realised he was numbered up on the blind side and just put in a very clever kick.
Inside.
Keeps that pack going backwards for Gloucester. I'm sure Ben will tell you that's what they love, the forwards. Their fly half that keeps the ball in front of them.
Come on.
What they love about that as well is the fact that they had a little probe, they had a little look with the snap drive at the front of the line out, give it to the back row ball, see what's on around the corner, and there's nothing on. Don't force it. Save our good stuff, keep our tinder dry, and we'll go and attack the line out, and they've turned it over.
It's Tom Wood who's proving to be a real nuisance in the skies above Kingsholm. Gloucester have it back with Harden starting again after a frustrating injury, ended his season prematurely, but turned the ball back Northampton's way. Burrell, 12 holding on for grim death.
It's a good battle, that, isn't it? Burrell versus 12 Trees.
To release. 12, tackler, release.
Penalty against 12 Trees.
Well, regardless of it, whether he is right, the referee's saying, I told you to release it. Stayed on his feet well. It's when he attached himself to the ball. Were there already Northampton players in that ruck? Makes the initial tackle, gets back to his feet. Let's go, sort of. Doesn't show him too much, but there were Northampton players already in. And that's why the referee was telling him to release. You can't put your hands when the ruck's already formed.
Dixon in from Otago this season. He's an option at 10. Ryan Lamb's playing for Leicester, of course, these days, but Myler currently very much the man in possession. Well, this has been a full-on Premiership battle at Kingsholm as we approach half-time. Saints restore a 7-point gap.
Gloucester will want to use this kick-off to get into Saints territory, make sure their chase is good so there's not an even easy clearance, and then apply that pressure in the last 3 minutes of this half. Try and come away with at least 3 points. I think that's a pretty good return.
All the way by Foto Ali, not one of his best. Experience of World Cups, Super Rugby with the Crusaders, as Oz was mentioning.
Tom, can we form this line a bit quicker? I don't want to huddle, okay? Thank you.
Telling Tom Savage and the Gloucester pack to get on with these lineouts, taking too long to form. Working well, tipped back by Calamafoni. Burns to 12 Trees. Trinder again offered himself, but it's come back to Burns. Oh, that was beautiful. Really, really lovely stuff. And the try is scored, is it? Has Sharples got the ball down? He thinks he has. He doesn't know. He's hoping that the shed cheers are rightly directed. And at the end of a scintillating handling move, Sharples has got it.
Well, it deserves a try for the move. First phase play at its best. Drag in those defenders, put the ball behind the back. It's a 2-on-1. Cook just could have held that maybe a little bit longer, but does it get the grounding? Brilliant attempt to smother the ball from Foden, and then it's Elliott coming over the top.
It's a try, isn't it? It's a good try. Wonderful piece of hands and interplay between 12 Trees and Burns.
Drifting the wrong side of the left-hand upright. Opportunity to square things up on the cusp of half-time has been squandered, but that was a try of some beauty.
He'll be delighted. The scrum was good, it held the ball. Sorry, the line-out's good, holds the ball, first fade, which he's been complaining about, and then look how they drag in 3 Northampton defenders. Burrell commits to the big hit on 12 Trees, who's been running that line all day and getting the ball. This time it goes behind his back. And they work the ball to the outside, and Sharples does enough to finish it. 100% calls when you need them.
Cook and Wood colliding in mid-air. Cook coming off very much second best.
Just a collision. Yeah, just a collision. Yeah.
He's got a bit of blood on his mouth guard there. See the point of the impact, perhaps.
Just one Premiership game in the last year.
I can see that, Tony. Thank you.
Really come into his own since arriving from the Cornish Pirates at the start of
it's fine.
last season.
I was right next to it.
Ollie Morgan still battling his way back to full fitness. Johnny May back on the bench after injury today, and in the absence of those two, Rob Cook has been a willing replacement at 15. One or two issues here, and while he gets some attention, we can get the diaries out. The French ones. Oyonnax, what a start to the season they've had in the top 14, up against the Parisian aristocrats tonight. 7:15, BT Sport 2. Tomorrow, Allianz Park again. Steve Borthwick Saracens against Stuart Hooper's Bath, 1 o'clock, BT Sport
Straight back,
1.
please, straight back.
And then rugby tonight.
Both, yeah.
Described this week as rugby's
Yes, it
version
is.
of Tiswas.
Went forward,
And there's the
off
Phantom
red,
Flam
off red.
Flinger. Mark Quater will be there on Wednesday, trying to inject some order. A bit of considered banter.
Stand up, please. Your head on head. Bit closer, bit closer. Step up, closer.
What do you have planned this week, Oz?
We're going to bring you in and make you look like a geography teacher.
Okay, then.
You just
there it is,
come
there's
as you
the
are.
mark. Come on,
I'll
we've
be
got 20
fine.
seconds left. Let's get on with it.
Vital scrum for Gloucester. Now they can't afford to give away a penalty here on the stroke of half-time.
Crouch!
Let Northampton open up that lead again. Just got to be
Set.
whiter than white.
Yes, 9.
So Murphy's gone in slightly there. Northampton will milk this, try and get the
We stood up.
penalty.
Both sides. We'll go again. Thank you, Tony.
They'll hold the ball in. There won't be no rush to get it out, the Saints.
Stay down, guys. Stay down.
Make sure we're square before ball comes.
Yeah.
See. Same again, let's go.
Hartley asking the referee to make sure everything's square before the ball comes in. He felt that weight coming in from Murphy onto his head.
Come on, boys. We know the rules, we know the
Crouch!
Come on, Stookie.
Bind! Set! Both. We will complete it, guys. We will complete it. Both of you. Both of you.
What's going on here, Ben? The whole point of this new law variation was to try and cut out all these reset scrums. Physically, dynamically, what do you see?
I just think Gloucester are trying to get really, really low, and I'm not sure you can get as low as that with the shortness of the hit now.
Set!
So you never get your legs back in that rest position. So when the weight comes on, you can see they're bending at the head a bit. They do a good job in the end. They'll be delighted with the end to that half.
Yes, that was like a throwback to the old days. 1 against the head for the Gloucester front row in front of the shed. And this game very much would take its place amongst some of the best 40 minutes of Gloucester Saints encounters in years gone by. Saints lead by 2. Sarah.
You don't want to be signing somebody like George North and then not using him. You've got such pace and power out wide now, but not only in their front line. You look at the bench that can come on. The 2 PC brothers, hugely talented individuals in open running, and Dixon as well. If you want some more control and you want some more tempo, you know, they really can mix up their game, Northampton, now, which is why it makes them, in my eyes, one of the, you know, joint favourites to come top this year.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly a feeling that if they take that final step, I mean, how close did they come on that concluding Saturday against Leicester at Twickenham? But if they are to take the final step, then that development of the 15-man game will be key, and Alex King will be central to that. Back underway in the King's Home sunshine. Saints with the slenderest of half-time leads. This is Wilson. Lays the ball back, and Garrett really working hard at the breakdown to make sure that the ball was scraped back on the Gloucester side. Not enough Saints numbers there, and Angera acrobatically stretching to make sure it's their ball to play with now. And Trinder, who was one of the star men that Alex King was mentioning just then from a defensive perspective for Northampton. Angera once more. Hit on Calamafoni, but he kept his feet well and brought Rob Cook in, who gets the ball away neatly. And this is taken on by James Simpson-Daniel. Did he have his foot in touch? And the ball was knocked forward, and it'll be a Gloucester scrum.
It came from the turnover from Wilson. He decides to go, and no one goes with him. It just gives Angera time to get on. Burrell does his best, but it was such a wide back line because they were trying to keep the width so they could play. And then really good hit from Manoa, but because of the angle he was running at, he drove him in towards Simpson-Daniel. But again, Gloucester short of numbers.
Foden spoke about it at half-time, their exit strategy. High-risk rugby, if it comes off, great, but you've got the slope now at King's Home, you're in the lead. First ball in the 22, would you not just kick it down there, Ben?
I sort of think if you look how Harlequins were playing a couple of years ago, they'd always attack from there, but they'd know what their exit strategy, so they'd pass along the line. If it wasn't on, then they'd clear from there.
Dan Bowden, by the way, has secured Leicester's bonus point early in the second half at Welford Road. Marlon Yard with London Irish's latest score. Those were 3 o'clock kickoffs. Yard's 4th of the season. penalty. Cherry White's taken quickly by the All Black Cowan. 12 trees stretching for the line, scoring the perfect start to the second half.
Take a bow, Jimmy Cowan.
Yeah, I've got you, Foxy.
Just reacted the quickest.
Checking the last pass. Okay.
Referee just wants to check the last pass. Cowan's away so quickly. His hands go backwards. Nothing wrong with that. I think he took the referee by surprise. That's why he wanted to have a look at it.
Look at how 12 trees just shifts a little bit on the pass to get outside Burrell. I think what's been so impressive about 12 trees in the last couple of weeks, in fact this season, is he's come back from that England tour and he looks like a senior player now. He's only 24 years old, but he looks like a guy that can lead teams, that can stand out in that midfield.
Foxy?
Yes, Graham.
Yeah, you may award the try.
Try score.
Confirmation from our TMO, Graham Hughes.
It's just the speed of Cowan's reaction. He didn't break stride. The referee gives the free kick and he just goes. The Northampton players couldn't react as quick.
12 trees marked his debut in the Calcutta Cup for England last February with a try. He really is growing as a player. And it's instructive, Austin, to watch him not just playing today, but to watch him down at Harbury when they're training. He's bossing those sessions. He's a dominant voice.
He's a leader, and you saw him in the changing room, on the changing room camera before the game. Really vocal, really sort of inspirational, like you said, Ben. Cowan sees it really quickly, but it's that little slide on the pass that takes 12 trees away and creates the try.
Worth noting that the penalty offence had meant that Northampton had almost driven their back row out of contention. Went for the big scrum and it just backfired on them.
Let's have a look at Gloucester's exiting ability. Oh dear me, not good. That has to go down as a cross against his name, having just been given a gold star. Out on the full.
Just the sort of attacking position Northampton love as well.
Keep the gap for me,
Got
please.
that double threat of the drive.
6 guys.
And using Burrell down the middle, or a combination of the two.
2 scrum halves. 1 go.
Christian Day just barking out the instructions.
Drop Manoa out as the carrier in midfield to run with Burrell. Give them that tunnel option. Great response from Gloucester to stop the initial surge.
As Clark gathered it and then was shoved very quickly into reverse.
You pulled it down. Pulled it down.
Who is you? You is Tom Savage.
Pulled them all down. No.
As well as a number 6 being sacrificed at the moment, Ben, because of the need to fill in for James Hudson. He's in the second row again today. And another attacking opportunity from the line out for Northampton.
It's just pressure building, isn't it? Gloucester need a similar response. They need to stop it at source, because if Northampton gets set up, very difficult to stop them.
30 out of 30 line-outs at the start of Northampton's season. Will this one lead to an immediate response and another Saints try? Blood and thunder and muscle and determination. And Paul Burton on the far side, the touch judge, is convinced that's a try.
Graham.
Yeah, got you, Foxy.
Try yes or no, Graham.
Try yes or no, okay.
Thank you.
Question gets no simpler for Graham Hughes. Finding the answer might be a little bit tough, and it looks like it may well have been Samu Manoa who was responsible
I think
for
that's
it.
the wrong question. If your touch judge has told you that it's a try, then surely the question should be, is there any reason I can't give the try? Now, the fourth official, the TMO, has to see the ball grounded, which we do, fortunately.
I'm going to give that.
Yeah, Foxy, may award the try.
Cheers. Try score.
Well, that line out, Gloucester tried to just put everything into the first initial surge, which they did last time successfully. But Northampton are so good at spinning off and finding the soft hole. Have a look at it after this kick.
We're talking about Tom Savage starting in the second row. Samu Manoa better used to being in the back row as well, a number 8, but Courtney Law's injured. He's up there today, and he scored the tries. George Peacey makes his way on. James Wilson, the man who is replaced. This for the lead. Well, he's in the richest vein of form at the moment. Such a confident player.
For me, it's Manoa who makes this, because he gets spewed up to the front and he's working hard. But he almost goes down. He scrabbles on his knees, which keeps the momentum long enough. Two players working on their knees there. And that gives the men at the back enough momentum to keep going forward. If they'd just dropped, I don't think Northampton would have scored that.
Confirmation of the change in Northampton's midfield. Myler whipped away to Foden. Try right at the start of the match gave Northampton the lead that they've just re-established. Here goes Cook.
Wait! Number 3, wait!
Elliott was well positioned. Oh, but he was done by the googly.
How many guys?
Definitely best batting second, I think, at Kingsholm. Remains 100%. That Hartley Day axis in the air remains unbeatable. Gloucester keen to get on with it. Simpson Daniel giving it air. Guerra off the floor to Burns. 12 trees.
14!
Once again. Second time in quick succession. Out of the hands, straight into touch.
Luther Burrell gets stuck straight into him as well after he kicks it out. You get the sense that those two know what they're playing for head to head today. Brad Barrett gone, England 12 shirt, Kyle Eastman injured. Can you think of anyone else that would fill that shirt, Nick? It's got to be one of these two, hasn't it?
It's certainly shaping up that well. Burrell on the tour. Now this is Day charging through. Looking forward to an injury-free season, and he had the bit between his teeth there. Waller cherishing his Premiership start, just half a dozen over 4 seasons. Northampton have responded beautifully to falling behind right at the start of this second half, and they're off in search of more here. Peacey back inside to Burrell. May well see him at Twickenham against Australia at the start of November. Taken on by Mercy. Myler back to Foden. This is North. Oh, and the tackle was sharp and watertight from Charlie Sharples. He's not had a great deal of space, George North, so far today, and he didn't have much there with Sharples.
Excellent defence. This is the little break. And I think Jimmy Cowan just thinks, there's no way I'm going to let my old rival go, and he steps out to mark Foto Alihi. Day spots it really well, gets the charge, and then how about this for excellent defence, using that touchline, going in low, and the momentum drags the big George North over the touchline.
Foden with Elliott for support. Foden decides to go on his own and pick out North instead. 3 men bring him down. Foden's there in his old position of scrum half. Sale fans will remember him there fondly. Here's the real one, Foto Alihi, Callum Clark, Myler, Burrell, thought about the ball back inside to Elliott, thought better of it. Foto Alihi to Myler. Hartley doing the hard yards, trying to win the ball back by driving cherry and white shirts over the top, but there were too many there.
Lost the contest.
It's really good play from the Saints, isn't it? They move the point of attack. They don't allow Gloucester to compete at the breakdown. Really fast mini rucks and some clever coaching.
As much as Northampton have conceded a few, Nigel Davies will be thrilled to see that down at half a dozen, and only one of them has been in kicking distance of the posts as well. They've really learned their lesson today.
Well, just talking about coaches having their influence, if we have a look at this play, this is an Alex King play. So as the ball comes out, have a look at Foden there. He's a decoy in the first play, but actually he's more important. As it pops out, he goes on to 12 trees and tries to hold him back and create the space for Burrell. 12 trees does really well to get back to that tackle. That's the hole he's trying to create. He looks like a decoy runner, but in actual fact, he's a blocker for a secondary play. Got Alex King written all over that. You have to look closely, Ben, yeah. You can't quite see it on the screen, but trust me, it has.
He's such a clever signing, Alex King. Made such an impression down with Claremont in the top 14. Wasps fans will have so many happy memories of him pulling the strings in the Delalio days. Cup-filled career as a fly half with Wasps, now coaching Saints backline. Working with Alan Dickens as well. This next passage of play, though, will all be about the work that Dorian West's done in the scrum.
George North just trying everything to do something that shows that marquee billing to the Northampton fans.
Still waiting for his first try. First try in a Saint shirt to add to all this year's gold-plated achievements.
Crouch! Okay then, Rex, get your balance then, please. Yeah? Let's get your balance. I still want ear on ear, guys, okay? Crouch! Eight's coming! Bind! Set! Yes, 9!
It's as solid a scrum as we've seen all afternoon. 12 trees, whips it out to Cook. Cook under some pressure because Elliott was there with the tackle. And that meant the accuracy of the pass wasn't there. And as a result, Freddie Burns in fairly rapid defensive detail.
Well, it didn't look good for Freddie Burns, though. As he put his knee down, he digs straight into the turf.
Don't touch him and don't appeal, okay?
It's a clever play, isn't it? 12 trees throws that lovely flat pass.
Yeah,
so well read by Elliott, though, to make that tackle. That is so hard as on the right wing to see that pass on the inside and still go forward and take the defender. And this is where, see his knee digs in. Oh, that could have been bad. He's lucky to get away with that.
North, Foden, arms outstretched, pleading for the ball. But he will now chase. Cook's underneath it. That was textbook. That was textbook. Up to halfway. Beautiful. Finds Stook. Cowan. Burns. Goes beyond Dickinson very nearly.
Release! Stay on your feet, stay on your feet. Back
Arden
foot,
keeps it alive for Gloucester.
Steady, steady.
Callum Afoni. Cowan. 12 trees. Oh, Trinder was calling for it back inside. Instead it was Ngera.
Come on, 22! Advantage.
Cowan knew the advantage was coming. Penalty going against George Peacey.
Still really getting some good momentum through those rucks. Support players driving past the ball. Meant they were getting fast ball, and Northampton defensive line couldn't recover. But how about this for a take under pressure? And then straight away he's looking for his route through. Jinky runner.
You get a sense now, Ben, that for Northampton they need a little bit of control around the breakdown. Confo is a great player and he's very good going forward, but they look like they're just in a period where they need to, at half-back, take a grip of the game again.
Okay, if you want
maybe
to go
Dixon come on and add maybe some more energy in the pack as well. Because Gloucester, like you said, we're on the front foot there.
So they've got GJ van Veltzy as a potential replacement. Phil Dowson as well. To retake the lead. They liked it right from the moment it left the yellow kicking tee.
Okay, send them on.
Another Kingsholm humdinger between Glos and the Saints. And Lee Dixon is coming on. Alex King still got his microphone to us open. Not sure we can take any credit for that. Khan Fotuali'i is off and Lee Dixon on for his 100th Premiership appearance. He knows all about the challenge facing him this season. It's just past him, going back the other direction. Khan Fotuali'i and Dixon is going to be a great strap for that 9 shirt.
He won't be too worried by his opposite numbers performance in this game, but it's a long old season, Nick.
Just to say, for the coaches to have the two different styles, it's a bit like Leicester with Ben Youngs and Mele, very different players. But in terms of keeping the opposition guessing, lull them into one sense of defence for the first 60 and then bring on, as we'll see, that ball going down from Clark under pressure. Simpson Daniel, really good chaser.
Stay in it, okay, stay in the scrum.
Tom Waldron scored his first try for over a year in the Aviva Premiership. Leicester beginning to pull away from their old mates, new team Dean Richards Newcastle. Gareth Steenson with 5 penalties, keeping the Chiefs in touch at the Medeski.
Guys, just looking at the play here, these two players in the midfield, Trinder and 12 Trees, are crucial, because if they allow Burns to get on the wide arc, it's very difficult to defend. They're holding them really well in the midfield. Once they get to that outside channel, almost impossible for PC to leave that midfield and cover the wide attacking play as well. We should give Cook and Sharples really plenty of attacking option.
Simpson Daniels coming close to the scrum as well. But they just need to make sure they get that right hand up, but the referee deciding that it wasn't a straight shove from Waller. And they've run round. You see the Shed wanting them to put it in the corner. Belief coming back to those Gloucester faithful.
Goodness me, he's going for the posts here.
Yeah, shot, mate, yeah.
All down on the pitch before the match. Didn't notice a breeze that would give
Where the ball is.
Freddie Burns the opportunity to carry on it towards those posts, but what do you reckon that is? That's got to be 55, 56 metres.
Don't pitch.
Last time we saw him go for a long range one, he got it badly wrong, but he's confident with this one.
On both of the early two long kicks, he faded it. He didn't get his weight through the ball. So we've all played golf, you know, we sort of a bit of a slice. When you try and put a bit more power through it, occasionally that's what happens.
58 metres. We've had the tape measure out. Here he goes. Why are they not using Billy 12 Trees for those long kicks? They will have a good reason, but if they're going to go for them, we know that 12 Trees has the dynamite.
As a captain, if your kicker says I can do it, you trust him.
Trinder. Elliott looking to bring a bouncing ball to heel.
22.
Just need to keep their energy up, Gloucester, now that they've got in front. A few of the forwards just walking into position for this kick-off. Can't afford a moment's lapse to give Northampton a bit of impetus back, because it's dropped off the Saints just slightly in the last 5 minutes.
Approaching the three-quarter point, Callum Ofoni, who has been a willing workhorse so far this afternoon. Savage. George North working hard at that breakdown. He was pulled out of it on Sharples. Cowan. Didn't quite come off, but it'll work out all right in the end. Cowan again. Trinder. Enjoying the benefit of a full pre-season, and you can see it. He's fizzing again, and it nearly worked.
There's no knock-on because the ball came off Savage's head. Just be a line-out.
It's the sense that all of his injuries mean that Trinder's progress has rather stalled in recent seasons. When he burst through, he was the big-name youngster here at Kingsholm. He's had the injuries, and he's looking to kickstart certainly his England ambitions this season.
Yeah, he's still only 24 years old. He's got the best left foot sidestep in the league, without doubt. And you know, if he can marry that brilliant flair that he's got with some pragmatic play, then I think he can force his way. That 13 shirt, Manu Tuolangi currently you'd say is a favourite to wear it, but this sort of guy, and others in the league actually, could prize it off him.
I don't know about his step, but his defence today has been superb. Both drifting, stepping in, making a tackle, turning the ball over. As I said, he had a couple of issues in the Sale game where he made the wrong decision. Perhaps that was just beginning of the season rustiness.
Big line out for Darren Davidge, 26 today. They go long to the new boy Stook. Cowan. He wanted to release that ball earlier than he did, but he hung on to it. Savage to Calamafoni.
Come out, 8!
Entering what he sent is a critical phase of this match. Calamafoni again.
He's got through some work rate, Calamafoni. Always available as the carrier today.
This time it's Stook again. Turned 20 last Tuesday. Picked up by Murphy. First Premiership start of the season. Cowan telling Stook to get back on his feet, to clock back on. Burns, drop goal. No.
It's a free shot. Burrell was offside according to the assistant.
Another word with Nigel Davis. What have you got to do, Nigel, to see this home in the remaining 20 minutes?
Offside.
Well, we've got to make sure we play high field position that we've been doing. I mean, we failed to clear a couple of times early in the second half, which gave them exactly what they wanted. You know, from the set piece, they're very strong in that area. We need to be a little bit sharper in the line-out till we can get a game into play. But most importantly, we've got to keep playing. We can't stop playing.
You've still got 8 replacements up your sleeve. What card game are you playing?
Yeah, we have got some replacements on the bench who can actually impact the game as well. But you know, at the moment, the boys on the field are doing a good job, and we'll see. We'll keep abreast of things and maybe make a few changes in the next 10 minutes.
Appreciate your time, Nigel. Thanks for talking to us. Oh, Burns has gone on his own, and the defence needed to be very alert. And his awareness has taken him to within a metre of the line. Can they recycle? And maybe put this one beyond Northampton's grasp. Davidjuk was taken backwards. 12 trees. Well, they've given up the opportunity of a cast iron 3 points.
Northampton have to make sure they stay on side here. I think they were very, very close a couple of rucks ago.
Gloucester think they might have just smuggled that over. I think it was Kvesic who was almost there. There's a whole bunch of them who are just one decent surge away.
Sharples screaming for the ball in midfield.
Cowan found him, Sharples drops it.
It was Trinder who dropped it. It was Sharples just outside him. Northampton's defence held firm. I just think they might have strayed offside slightly. Burns just sharp. He hasn't pointed to the post, so he's entitled to go. PC halves catches him. Dylan Hartley does a good job.
Okay, number 4 green. Number 4 green.
I think that is definitely offside by Mercy. It's on the left-hand side of this ruck. Mercy just stepping round the corner when the ball was still behind the back foot.
I talked to Nigel Davis about potential Gloucester replacements. Here's Northampton one. Samu Manoa's done his job in the second row, replaced by Phil Dowson. Where will Dowson go? Will he go into the back row? Will they shove one of the existing back rowers a metre forward? No.
Okay, number 6, Gloucester, off you go. Number 6. 6.
Dean Mum scored a try for the Chiefs at the Medeski to make it tight. 10 minutes to go there. Here's the first Cherry and White replacement, and it's Ben Morgan coming on for the new boy, Matt Kvesic. Let's hear the ovation.
Big scrum for Saints now. Chance to reassert that dominance. Oh, they've brought the wrong person off. It should have been Gira.
It's Akapusi and Gira who's actually getting the shepherd's crook. Matt Kvesic had rowed ashore, and now he's got to row back out to the island. And now we can get the ovation for Akapusi and Gira.
Just think how Northampton getting the scrums all their own way in the first half. Had a few penalties go against them this half, which last one resulted in the try that Cowan set up for 12 trees. How much they could do with being able to clear their lines and still have the put into the line out.
Be quiet, be quiet.
Phil Dowson has
Flat back, both of you, flat back.
gone into the back row.
Yeah, sorry.
Christian Day and Callum Clark in the middle.
Bind!
Lee Dixon on a little earlier.
Yes, 9!
That's a scrum that needs some controlling from a Saints perspective. And they've lost it. Burns. Simpson Daniel trying to wheel away.
On.
Hartley up so quickly on Davidge. Murphy clearing Hartley out of the scene of the crime. Calamafoni. Dickinson amongst those trying to strip the ball from him. Burns, 12 trees. A little bit of congestion, but just look what 12 trees did in a very enclosed space. Northampton so close to wrestling the ball back themselves. This is full-on stop at Kingsholm. Savage again. The West Country roar. They're looking for a try that might secure the game. Morgan with the latest of bursts. Cowan, Burns, options out wide. Simpson Daniel. Ball out. Try. And maybe the game. And look who scored it. Elliot Stook. He'll bottle that roar and remember this moment for as long as he lives.
James Simpson Daniel at his absolute best. Such an elusive runner, but he's also always so aware of what's around him defensively and in support. See Northampton rush up, they're trying to get the pressure on with that left-footed step, and then he goes back out, and as the last few defenders come in, he slots the ball between them and delivers it behind the back. And he keeps his cool and just dives for the line before Foden can get underneath. I'll tell you the difference though. Gloucester have started winning the scrums and it's made all the difference to them.
Well, World Championship winner with England in France over the summer, beating Wales in the final.
Can you just check for me? Thank you.
In the middle of all that, they may well have lost Tom Savage. He's limping off, so some good news, some very good news, some worrying news of Savage, but Stooks a try scorer on his first Premiership start.
It's just a sublime piece of play by Simpson Daniel. First the left step that takes him past Marler, then the right, and then he has, even when he's losing balance and going to the floor, he still has the timing and the ability to offload. Brilliant piece of play, worth the admission price alone.
Gloucester have changed their two props. Dan Murphy and Rupert Harden have been replaced by Jan Thomas and Sean Knight.
Northampton are going to kick away from the forwards. They've put Christian Day out there to compete. They need some possession down here in the Gloucester half, and they get it.
So 13 minutes to go. Will James is on as well, as we saw. North. Ball was in front of Peacey, and it was knocked forward.
Well, North seeing the pressure of the shed as they react. You can see what he's trying to do. Good outside step originally, and then excellent defence from Freddie Burns to hold on to his man as he tries to walk the tightrope down the touchline.
Take the middle.
It's confirmation that Rashid changes. Tom Savage replaced by Will James in Gloucester's second row.
Crouch! Bind! set.
The scrum is not a happy place for Northampton at the moment.
What from the line out?
Emptied the bench
After
of
the line?
props.
It's Gareth Denman who's on. Ethan Waller as well,
Hold on.
who is
Number 10.
Alex's kid brother, on for his Premiership debut, still only 21.
10.
Big time to come on when the referee's
Yeah, they can.
mind is thinking
Decision
that
move. And you
Gloucester
have
have now got the upper hand,
Yeah.
judging by the last few decisions.
Well, Freddie Burns is coming off. That's who Mike Tyndall's
Time
on to replace. So I assume that 12 Trees will move up to fly half. Tyndall will take his place in midfield. Increasingly endangered species these days. He's been around for all 17 Premiership seasons.
Get out.
David Attenborough will do a documentary on him before too long. Enjoy it while you can. Might not be around much longer. Moving into coaching Mike Tyndall. Cowan. Dabajuk, who's still going strong on halfway. Cowan again. Cook chasing this, so is Sharples.
Yes, he did.
Bounce beats both of them and George North.
News won't get any better for Northampton. Christian Day looks like he's twisted his ankle at that last line out.
Switched.
Sir.
Okay. Time off.
Oh, what a comeback from the Chiefs. Ben White has put Exeter ahead. 5 minutes to go at the Medeski. They kicked off at 3 o'clock, 15 minutes ahead of us.
Guys, just looking back at the try, and Simpsons-Daniel's brilliance is he organised it, he knows where he's going, he spots the matchup, he wants to attack Dylan Hartley and Myler. Now as the ball comes out, they don't look like the guys are going to be in front of him, but he picks that hole, and watch how it works. He steps on the inside, he knows that Hartley's not going to have the pace to drift, and that's what creates the gap. He's not just a very talented player, he's a very clever rugby player.
Nigel Davis saying a couple of weeks ago that if James Simpson-Daniel had been born in Wales, he'd have won over 50 caps.
I think if James Simpson-Daniel hadn't had so many injuries, he may well have had over 50 caps for England.
The final score coming in from Welford Road. Not the return that Dean Richards was hoping for. He got a nice ovation from the Crumbie stand at the start, but that was about as good as it got. A bonus point win for the Tigers. Talking of Mike Tyndall and his Premiership longevity, Simpson-Daniel made his debut 13 years ago. We will hope that the frustration of last season's shoulder injury is behind him and we can enjoy much more of what we've seen from him today.
Time on.
Good news for Saints is that Christian Day's back on his feet. He looks a little bit ginger, but he was part of the conversation that involved Hooker Dylan Hartley there as to where this ball's going to be directed. He was looking for Wood.
It's a poor throw from Hartley because Wood got up well, beat his man, and it just was a little bit too low. He had to alter too much. He get away with it again. Hartley working hard, although he stood up there, he's keeping Calamafoni away. The men behind are doing the driving.
17 out. He formed it.
That's a good drive, the way they've regenerated and got the support around the ball when Calamafoni was getting through.
Don't swim.
Good game.
James trying to get a grip on things. And that is deemed a deliberate collapsing of the maul.
Well, it's actually, I think, Ethan Waller who pulls it down, but the sheer force of the drive, Waller pulled Will James.
Yeah, but you then pulled it down. You were okay, but then it was pulled down.
As Waller pulls Will James by the collar, it goes down. But it just shows that if you have that movement, the referee's looking for a reason why you're stopping it illegally. See 17 there for Northampton's Waller. James gets through past him. You can see he tries to grab there and he just pulls it over with his trips. A little bit of a hip toss, judo hip toss, pulls him over, gets the penalty. Good attacking position for Northampton.
Final 10 minutes, won by Dowson. This is Clark.
Release!
All the work that Gloucester did in training this week with the referee Andrew Small in a full-on 15-a-side contest to cut down on the penalties. Trying to remember all those things from that training session now as Saints look for a toe hold back into this match with Burrell. Ball's been lost forward and then he gathered it again, but not before it had been spotted by Martin Fox.
It's 12 trees that makes the tackle, gets back to him. Just thought, just before he decided to go for the gap, if the ball went to the outside channel, the opportunity was on.
Immense strength though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
To get half through, he just tries to get the ball out of the back door, but he sees Simpson Daniel coming in, and while that happens, Trinder just swings his arm in on the ball, dislodges it well.
Corey Britton coming on to replace Darren Dabajuk, and we can see Dylan Hartley running towards us. Mike Haywood's coming on in the Saints front row, so two brand new hookers.
Yeah, these two guys, Burrell and 12 trees, very similar stats, apart from the fact Burrell's down for 4 misses. Difficult in that midfield. I think Gloucester have definitely had the upper hand. That's maybe because of the partnership with Trinder. Such a threat, so difficult to defend against.
When you go down to be a coach, crouch, bind, set. Yes, bind. Just stood up. Same scrum, stood up. Be quiet.
Scrums with brand new front rows now.
Be quiet.
Bench has been decanted of all the available front row replacements. Britton, Thomas and Knight and Haywood and Waller and Denman.
Hold it, hold it. Crouch!
Is this to be the afternoon when Gloucester get their season up and running? Only Worcester below them in the Premiership at the moment. 1 point from the first 2 games. They've got a 6-point cushion, and now they've got the penalty. Only conceded 7 penalties in the match so far, only 2 of them in their own half.
Hey, be quiet.
Don't think Darren Dabajak's going to be doing much dancing tonight.
What? You're this side with me. Oh, okay.
Or if he is, he'll be dancing more like Ben than Austin.
Is it okay?
Ben me or Ben Cohen?
Ben you.
I just spoke to him. Okay.
There's Corey Britton. 22 now, he's outgrown the England under-20s where he started to make his impact. Finds Morgan for both England tests over the summer in Argentina. This is Jan Thomas. Just a handful of Premiership appearances for him over the last 3 years. But another here as Gloucester try and strangle the life out of this one. 12 trees, that fly half now. That's a steepler. Foden was underneath it.
Away. 22.
Still got to be careful, Gloucester. 6 points in it, 6 to go. Point for Northampton won't be enough to take them back above Saracens and Harlequins at the top of the table. They need at least 2 to reclaim top spot. Gloucester readying themselves to bring on Johnny May and Dan Robson.
Time off.
And that will be it for their options. Nigel Davies was relatively slow playing his replacement cards, but he's played them all now. Charlie Sharples gives way to Johnny May, and an excellent first Premiership start for 8 months for Jimmy Cowan, but it's done now because Dan Robson's on.
Don't lose a lot by bringing those guys off the bench, do they? Embarrassment of Riches at back row and in the back line as well for Gloucester.
Mike Haywood, it's an elegant throw to pick out Tom Wood. This is Day.
It's been a good day again. It's been a really good start to the season. They're holding the ball up, waiting for the support.
15.
Final score coming in from the Medeski Stadium, and we are hearing that London Irish have lost there for the first time this year. Chiefs really pulling themselves back into it late on to take the points. Not sure yet who's going to go home with the bulk of the points here at Kingsholm. Last 5 minutes.
And Gloucester will want to play everything down here in Northampton's half. Keep them out of range of anything but the extravagant attack.
I just asked you to keep the space. Get out. Thank you.
It's meant for James. And the old man gets it. 37 by the time Christmas comes around, but he's still leaping around like a good one.
That's a lovely setup of the drive. See how much better the body positions are of the red shirts to the green. And Christian Day coming through, doing a good job to stop it.
Ball's available!
Robson to May. Back from what initially looked like a nasty elbow dislocation against Toulon.
Ball's out!
The ball was out, and Dowson was within his rights to try and step through. This is Kvesic. England debut over the summer, to leaving Worcester. 12 trees. Trinder. Taken on by Tyndall. Nothing as the backs coach these days, but it's been overturned. Saints looking to claw back this 6-point gap. Here goes North. Oh, and it's a forward pass, and North, who was lighting the Rockets, has to unlight them.
Hey, come on! Let's go!
Heartbreaking for those coaches, and trying to get the ball in his hands for with a bit of space all game.
Time off.
Is it forward or is it one of those that's momentum?
Yeah, is it forward? It's a tough one, that. It wasn't a clear run in. Robson was coming across, but was it forward?
You want a PSCA?
You would have fancied North, even with Robson coming across. Option of the little step inside, the option of just going straight over the top. But we will never know.
Yeah, 250 left. Yeah. 250.
Let's have another look.
No.
The hands go back, don't they?
That's where he gave it from. That's
Which
where he gave
last
the
year we
ball.
were being told that's what the referees look as the indicator. If the hands go back,
Hey, you stay in there. Don't come out.
the momentum rule applies.
For all the world, it looked like the moment that George North was to break his 4-hour Premiership barren spell and score his first try. But he didn't. And it's still Gloucester's game to win here.
Yes, 9!
Robson to 12 trees. Trinder was offering himself, but this is Simpson-Daniel, and all the importance of that little touch from PC.
He's knocked that on, Simpson-Daniel, hasn't he?
We continue with James.
Stayed down, Simpson-Daniel as well. Looks like his hip's in a lot of pain.
Playing with 14 men at the moment. Just 2 minutes to eat up now, though, for the Cherry and Whites. Simpson-Daniel's back on his knees. 12 trees. North. Trinder chasing. Goes beyond Trinder. Goes beyond May. He's got 12 trees now. Goes beyond 12 trees. Up to halfway. Foden. Oh, Clark. Oh, no, Elliott. This will be one of the scores of the season. Right at the start of the season. Made in Wales. Finished in Northampton. That was brilliant.
Graham, can you hear me?
I've got you, Foxy.
Unbelievable footwork.
Graham, did that ball go
Unbelievable.
forward in midfield, just in on the 15?
Look at the reaction of the other Saints players
Checking the
going to the
pass.
TMO.
Okay.
He has no right to beat those defenders in that space. A man of that size, to do that with his feet is sensational. That's fine. That pass is fine as well. It's a try. The crowd are trying to change the opinion of the officials, but that is brilliant rugby.
Goodness me. Well, we knew that George North has that in his locker. And every neutral around the country, I suspect, is hoping that this try is given, because it was just a try of such sublime quality. There was the ball.
I don't think it goes any closer to the line, do you? I think it stays parallel to the line. Let's have a look at this. This will give us the best angle.
It's definitely backwards. It's
it's flat. It's not backwards.
Well, yes,
flat.
momentum pass. It's exactly what we've been talking about for 2 years. The hands go back. The player continues to move forward. When he catches it, he's still in front of Elliott when he catches it. It's a definite.
Here we go. Graham Hughes has made up his mind.
Foxy,
Yes, Graham.
you may award the try.
Thank you.
That's why rugby was invented. That's why we love the sport. That was magical.
Time on. We've gone over.
A few people.
Let's not forget that this conversion still
The game will restart.
has to go
We're at
over.
1:06 on the clock. The game will restart. The game will restart.
Got a minute to play once this conversion goes over, and really will Stephen Myler have put so much care into a kick of
Put the clock
such
on, please.
seeming simplicity, but he knows what this means.
Well, the clock's back on, and he can take a minute, can't he, to take the kick?
Well, I thought we heard Martin Fox saying the clock would stop and we will have 1:06 to play, but the clock's still counting down. This might be a talking point at the end for Gloucester's coaches. Myler taking as much time as he's allowed to take with this kick. 30 seconds on the official clock. Myler completes the job, completes the 7-point score, and it was worth 70.
People wondering
The game will restart.
why Northampton didn't spend more money on a fly half. And they spent all that money on George North. Well, he's just proven everyone why.
Still work to do here. The ball was knocked forward by Northampton. We've got a scrum and we play on.
Nick, Gloucester had 4 players at least 4 yards offside from that restart. Absolutely outrageous. If they go on to win this now, Jim Malander will be spewing.
This has been fun.
What a game.
Well, we heard what Jim Malander was saying. Time's up. I think if we listen back to Martin Fox, we'll hear why we're still playing. This is it, though, for Gloucester. This is it for Northampton. The game of the season so far, the game we've been waiting for to ignite the season.
Northampton can't afford to give away a penalty for collapsing the scrum. Both sides all know that.
The scrum should never be happening. We go back to that restart, they were miles offside.
What's going on there? It's here. It's strong.
What odds a penalty now to Gloucester, Nick?
Crouch. Bind. Set. That's the one. Yes, 9.
On this side, Callum Mahoney running round, breaking his bind. He's got to be careful. He was in the Northampton back row there.
Dorian West looks like he might explode.
He usually does.
Well, I can barely breathe and I'm neutral. What an incredible finish. And there's still a couple of lines still to be penned here.
Bind. Set. Yes, 9.
Morgan trying to control it. Northampton coming through. Penalty! You can only imagine the emotions in his head and in Jim Malander's head.
Well, Morgan miscontrols it. He just managed to scrape it back in, but Gloucester back row thought that the ball was out. They thought they were entitled to go for it. Oh, here Morgan here just slightly miscontrols. You can see it looks like it's bubbling out now.
That ball's
Did it
out.
come out?
That ball's out, guys. This is an absolute travesty. Miscarriage of justice. If this goes over now, it's a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
Keep still.
Northampton deserved to win this game with a piece of skill and brilliance from George North and the rest of the team. And the referee and the officials have brought Gloucester back into it by inept performance.
37 metres between Billy Twelvetrees and an extraordinary conclusion at Kingsholm. Twelvetrees has got it. Twelvetrees has made sure that Gloucester avoid their worst ever start to a Premiership season. But we've not heard the last of this. Oh, we have not heard the last of this.
It's drama, it's great for the crowd, but it's unfair. It's not right, it's not just. Northampton deserved to win that game. The game should have been over from the restart. Then they had 3 scrums. Again, the game should have been over. The ball pops out to the scrum. If I'm a Northampton fan, I'm absolutely screaming at my television screen right now.
We all thought that Jamie Elliott's wonder try set up by George North had snatched it. We were wrong. Billy Twelvetrees snatched it in the most controversial of circumstances. Gloucester win. Let's have a look at the results.